is a supplemental appropriation, and it's a federal award, a JAG award for the police department to support our police overtime at community events and to support known hotspots.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
I'm sorry,
So
who's
Jack
that?
will make the,
That's Jack.
Jack? Okay. You need a second?
Galini's a second.
Okay, thank you.
The only thing on that is you did mention probation, but you didn't mention parole on there, because I know parole works with that group as well. I'm just, you know.
yeah, in all honesty, I took it from the second page, which is what they provided me. I just kind of condensed it a little bit from what they said, so.
Don't want to leave my
Let me
parole
do that,
brothers
I just
left
didn't
out.
realize that.
Insufficient.
Yeah. The next item is for the mayor's office. It's simply a cleanup. We get, for City Hall, we get a newspaper subscription. It was $12 more than what we budgeted for the year.
Mm. I'm fine with that.
Okay, second. Thank you.
The second item, or the third item, is for the law department. As you know, we have to send out emergency orders once or twice a week that have to be FedExed, and so they have to be received in Albany and New York City within a certain period of time. So we just need to, this is the third time we've increased this account.
But why we have so many, only for my ignorance, but why are they emergency orders? How come we're not in front of it?
I can explain that. So the way the statute works is the mayor can only issue an emergency order that's good for 5 days. So he has to, by law, renew it every 5 days. So the way that math works out is you end up pretty much having to do it twice a week. So there's no way, and there's actually been legislation in Albany both ways, some to shorten the time, some to expand it. But right now, we're stuck with this 5-day cycle, which is, yeah, it is very wasteful. I lose 4 hours a week messing around with these things.
Zach, it's just a letter, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but it has to be filed at several different places. It has to be filed with the New York State Department of Homeland Security, the New York State Secretary or Secretary of State, the United County Clerk, the Utica City Clerk. So, and we have to publish it to the media. So it's an involved process. It's very cumbersome.
Well, I mean, is it a matter of sending out 5 envelopes with a stamp on it, or is it different?
It's not so much. It's the time that they have to receive it. So it's not like in a lawsuit. A lot of times when you put it in the mail, that counts as service. This, you have to have it in Albany within 72 hours of the order being issued. They have to have an original order for their record.
You can't stack them, Zach, where you send 4 at once and say it's going to be the next 20 days?
No, they won't. No, they won't let you do that. I wish they would, but they won't. It's got to be a contemporaneous document. I see what you're saying, David.
So it's an overnight. Is it an overnight?
Right.
Yeah.
What?
Yes.
All right. So each one has to be an overnight, or just the one to Albany?
Well, what we do is only two get overnighted to Albany. Mm-hmm. That's the Department of Homeland Security and Secretary of State are the Albany ones. The United County Clerk uses interoffice mail, and the City Clerk, I just run it down to her. Or David, I see Dave's on it, I run it down to Dave.
All right. So I didn't see the figure. That's why I did. How much was it? I didn't see that one.
3,000.
Yeah, we're moving 3,000. But I'm assuming that was over since March. Have we moved postage yet since March?
Yes, we've moved 2,500 so far.
Okay.
Beyond it, yeah. This should take us through the end of March.
Yeah, 4 FedEx letters a week. Yes.
How's that $3,000? What are they, $20 a week?
Yeah, they're 25%.
We're already going to be in the negative. We also have emergency orders for Charlestown.
I'm
so
moving
that we
this.
possibly get federal funding. Okay.
Yeah, I mean it's been a busy year for our office, as you're gonna find out. I don't know.
I second it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Our next item is for police admin. This is my fault. When we go through, and every so often I trip over one of these, where when I've done the budget, right, I only have sometimes, because water bills are quarterly, I only have 2 or 3. And occasionally over the past 2 or 3 years, I've caught myself not realizing that that there were only 2 payments in when I did the budget instead of 3. It's usually been on water or gas and electric. It's never really been anything else, and this happens to be one of them. So I went back through because I thought at one point that there was some water leaks over there, but they have done some work over in their maintenance garage from time to time, and that bill goes up and down. But this one is really, if you take a look at the history of this police admin water, it really was my fault not budgeting enough.
All right.
Someone want to move this?
I'll move it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item is street lighting. As we're all aware, we are about 3/4 of the way through with installing 7,500 new LED streetlights. As the streetlights are being installed, we're finding multiple problems with wires that are disconnected. We have, some lights down. We have some wires that have been eaten through. We have all kinds of different things going on out there. So our guys are doing a great job getting these things fixed as our contractor is going along. So it just simply is that we need more budget for supplies out of repairs, and it's all within that same cost center.
Yeah, no, Heather, I noticed it's not the city of Utica that's replacing them. It's a contracted company that we've contracted.
Yes, we are utilizing NIPA, which is a state agency. They went out and did the bidding for us, and because of the type of work that it is, there wasn't even a local bidder that bid on actually doing the installation of the streetlights. We have some of the work that's being done for the repairs of the lights that our guys internally don't have the skill set to do, and we are using power line contractors for that, which is a local contractor out of Clinton. But there just wasn't, anybody local that had the manpower to get up there and do these lights.
Okay, well, it's 3,000, right? So.
Yes.
All right, I'll move it.
I'll second it.
Thank you.
That was Galimi, sorry.
Yep, that's okay.
The next item we have is out of pools into tennis electric. As you may recall, the only outdoor sport besides individualized golf that was being permitted in the state of New York, and a group sport, was tennis. And so our tennis courts were lit up at midnight, at 2 a.m., at 3 a.m., with people actually playing.
Yeah, I'll move.
And so,
I'll
okay,
second it.
perfect.
Thank you.
Okay. Our next item has to do with the pools. So unbeknownst to me, and Dave Short can second this, I was unaware that we went into some of our basements in our pools and installed certain type of heating elements because we did a big capital project the past couple of years, and we needed heat in our basement so things wouldn't freeze. And so we simply did not have enough money in our heat accounts. I don't know, Dave, is there anything you want to add to that?
Basically, when our contractors went in there, we had a problem with freezing pipes that were breaking all the time. We had taken out the heat about a decade ago under their hand at the time, and it just created further damage to our infrastructure in the pool. So we had this capital program going along. It was prudent to go ahead and put the heating system back in, just to give it a little heat so that it wouldn't freeze anymore.
Is this in the basement of the pool building?
You want to put money?
Dave, is this in the basement of the pool buildings?
Yes, Madison Miller and Buckley Pool.
Okay. Yeah, I'm fine with this.
Yeah, I'll second it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next item has to do with urban economic development. You will be shortly receiving, we received some money through the CARES Act, and soon we'll be receiving a budget supplemental appropriation once the HUD actually does that approval. But in anticipation of that, We have been utilizing ICANN for rapid rehousing. As I'm sure you're aware, we've had a massive amount of homelessness as a product of COVID, and so this was simply a small cleanup because we will be looking to budget some CARES Act money for ICANN, and you'll be seeing that in the next couple of weeks.
Now, Heather, you mentioned the homeless. I mean, nobody's being removed from their apartments, so why are we getting an uptick of homeless?
The mayor's actually working on a big project on that. I don't know if you, over the summer, in fact, he put me on top, he put me in charge of trying to kind of pull together all our social service agencies, because we're seeing, even down in East Utica, on our corners, we were seeing a large population over near where, on South Street, where they were feeding the homeless. And so what was happening is they were congregating in certain areas of the city where services were being provided. And the services have changed up a little bit. And so these individuals were getting together, and they had commonality in drug use, prostitution, various things. And so the mayor felt very strongly that they needed additional help. You know, it's very interesting. You know, you look at on the rescue mission, because of COVID, where they maybe had bed after bed, they now had to socially distance. They couldn't have bed after bed. So whatever how many ever their capacity was pre-COVID is not capacity today. And likewise, in some of these social service agencies, because the individuals were now working from home, they were no longer doing any intake. So if someone was looking for services, you know, it was very difficult unless you had a computer. Our libraries were all closed, which provided free computer usage. So it's just, you know, even though they weren't being evicted, all the ancillary services that they needed, you know, just weren't being provided in 100%. So the mayor has been kind of active in this arena because we started seeing, there was even a slight encampment that began down near the river. And so both our police department and the mayor have been pretty active in trying to find help for these people. So that's kind of my long-winded story, but you'll hear more about it in a couple of weeks when we come back to add a supplemental CARES Grant Act through HUD.
So what do we use this money for in all actuality?
It's going to be used for staff to physically go out on the street. That's what the mayor's been pushing for, people going out on the street, trying to understand. You know, John Smith is out on the street. Why are you here? Do you have a home? If you don't have a place to sleep, you used to sleep with the rescue mission. Now they don't have a capacity. How can we get you? How can we find you a place? I'll give you a great example. We had two people. ICANN identified two individuals.
Are we going to hire new employees to do this, or?
We are not. Nope. There are social service agencies out there that already have.
Where's the money going to do what? If we're not hiring anybody,
we're physically not. We're physically
out there who are proficient in what they do, and we're going to supplement that money for an RFP to provide that. We are not hiring additional people.
Say that again, Mayor, please. What are we going to do? We're going to give the different agencies money to support them. Is that it?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And this was simply a small cleanup to begin that process. And as I mentioned, in the next couple of weeks, you're just waiting for HUD to approve the budget for this extra CARES Act money that we were provided. We can only spend it on certain things. We can't just spend it on whatever we want. So homelessness is one of the key elements.
Right, I understand. So when we do get the grant, do we put the grant money back into general, or are we going to use it for additional housing? And
well, none of it's coming from the general fund. So we already have this money right here, which is coming from the outreach of Utica MHA and Johnson Park. It was already being used for that.
Right.
They just didn't have a need for it right now, and ICANN does. And ICANN is sort of the new organization that's actually physically on the street. MHA is on the street and Johnson Park to some extent, but ICANN actually has bodies on the ground all hours. And if a police department comes across an individual struggling at 3 a.m. That appears homeless or a vagrant, they'll be calling ICANN at 3 a.m. and they'll be showing up, trying to find a place for this person to sleep or eat, or trying to help them with their problem.
All right, I'm good with this.
Are you going to move it, Jack?
Yes.
Okay, second?
I'll second it.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Our last item, which has to proceed to the Common Council, is a cleanup, but a very large cleanup. We recently paid our actual retirement bill. It was due by December 20th, and it's pretty exciting because once again, the Comptroller's Office was able to pay the $7 million in full without doing any short-term borrowing. But the estimates that are provided to us by the State Comptroller when we prepare a budget change throughout the year as people come and go, as people retire for a variety of different reasons, and we get our actual bill usually at the beginning of November as to what we have to pay in December. And so as you can see, we had extra money. We had $272,000 over budgeted for police, but we were under budget by $9,000 in general fund and DPW by $23,000. And it's something I can't predict. They give us something in writing, and it's just changes that happen throughout the year. And every year we experience the same thing. We have ups, we have downs, and we try to,
I'll move this.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so that's all I have today, and I know that Zach wants to go into executive session. We just have to make sure that the streaming is turned off, and then once you're out of executive session, the streaming is turned back on.
No, well, wait, before you do that, Steve, just wait. Can the Zoom matter, that was the wrong address with the ROP program. I think you all recall that you authorized $25,000 for settlement in executive session. We have that case settled, so there should be a resolution you got. We can go ahead and pull that for a vote right now. Somebody wants to move that.
It's not in the current packet I have up, so I can't read it. Let me get back to my email. Hang on.
Email it to Melissa. I think she.
No, it's in my email. I had it downloaded last week.
Yeah, I have one for 25,000.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
I didn't see that. When'd you send that one?
I can send it now. You guys
No, I
should
think
all
it
have
was.
that.
Get the date on that,
Let's
Mike?
see. Did you send it or did Heather?
You know what? I did not include it in my packet, and I normally do. So Melissa got it, and I got it, and I should have included it. So that's probably my fault.
Is it okay if I share it on the screen?
Yeah, go ahead, Mike. That's gonna be public record anyways.
Okay. Let's see. Share.
Do you have it, Mike?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there it is. You guys can see that.
Thank you.
This is the prior conversation we had about this also?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll move it if there's any questions.
Or I'll second.
All right, I'm in favor of it.
Thank you.
Everyone good? I could stop sharing?
Yep, go ahead.
All right.
Now, we gotta vote, I guess.
Yep.
So we can go in. Yes, we gotta vote. All right, so we can go to executive session now. So we got a motion for that.
Second.
Okay, one moment here.
Just make sure we're off.
Yes, sir.
I'll second it.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Mike, how you feel?
Doing all right.